I got to show you this. Hey, Barb, I want to show you something. Would you like to see, you know what? And I usually do not do this. And the reason I'm doing it is because my old lady's not here. But have you ever seen a picture of Mrs. Big Sills? Everyone always asks because she's a behind the scenes chick. She does not like any publicity. Kim's like this, and nothing like it. My aunt knows it too. She's kind of behind the scenes. My aunt's gorgeous too, though. So we got kind of a cool thing going on here. Have you guys ever seen a picture of Mrs. Big Sills? And most importantly, would you ever want to see one? Because she took this picture the other day, and I can't believe it, actually. She's a 57-year-old chick, too. It's crazy. How about this? Here's my wife. That's Mrs. Big Sills. Right there. See? That's Mrs. Big Sills. She's 57 years old. Not bad for an old lady, I told her. As I say, I'll kick my coverage, as many people would say. And the guy she married, I ate him. So I just want you to know that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You should see my daughter. My daughter's gorgeous. I mean, yeah. Don't get any ideas. You know, that's when everybody goes like this. Sills, your daughter's good looking. I'm like, that doesn't help you. Oh, hey, Matt, check it out. When people go like this, your daughter's gorgeous. I'm like, that's not helping you. That's not really helping you. Can I tell you this without like insulting anybody? I was hoping my daughter, would be a lesbian and, it would be more comfortable for me. But since she's not, I got to worry about some asshole coming into her life. And I always tell her too. I always tell her this. She's like, Dad, I want you to meet Billy. I go, Billy, how you doing? Right? Yeah. And Billy's like, Mr. Sileo. I go, yeah. She's like, Dad, why aren't you nice to any of my friends? And I go like this, because Didi, I only like the guy because like my cousins, two daughters, I don't really care. My aunt tells me all about their life and their guys. And I'm like, I don't really care. Kevin and I don't really, we like them because they like them. At the end of the day, I'm not tied to anybody here except my kid. Okay. It just doesn't work like that. Hey, this is a really good guy. I don't really care. Hey, this guy's a super, doesn't, because if I have to kill him, I don't want to have any emotional ties to the guy. Oh, I've been done. Hey, that's been done numerous times. Hey. Barb goes, did you always screen your daughter's potential? No, you know how I do it, Barb? She'll go like this. She got this friend called Johnny. And first off, I told her, I go, guys don't have Anis like Donnie and Johnny. And, I want a man's name. And so she's like, Dad, please, whatever you do, don't be an asshole. So the guy comes over and I know his name is Johnny. I go, hey, Ronnie, how you doing? She's like, Dad, you know his name. Okay. How you doing, Ricky? She goes, Dad. And I'm like, okay. Hi, Johnny. How you doing? Mr. Sileo, how you doing? And then he looks at me and I go, you pretty much know the routine though. So she's like, I do. She goes, I love you. And I go, don't say that because I don't love you. My daughter's just like, please, let's leave. He can't be controlled. Okay. When it comes to her, I lose my shit with her, man. Oh, God. What if Brock Purdy's to date your daughter? Maurice, there's no jurisdiction on anybody I won't kill if you act inappropriate. Okay? I don't care who that person is. I don't care how much money you have. I'll bury you with the fishes. What happened to him? Luca Brasi got him. Okay? Luca Brasi got him. Sileo's Luca Brasi? He can be. He can be. Well, last night was a memorable night for Eagle fans. Okay, it really was. You guys were great last night after being totally dominated on both sides of the ball. You guys come away with a victory in a hard-fought ball game in Kansas City in a place they don't get beat. This wasn't a numbers game last night. This was a game that you're going to remember. I'm going to give you an example. Stink told me this a couple of years ago, and I think it really is appropriate here. And when Stink was playing in Denver, and they lost the year previous to them going back-to-back Super Bowls and Super Bowl wins. They lost in a playoff. You guys remember they lost in a playoff home game to Jacksonville. And they lost that game, and it stuck in their crawl. You know what, Tone? I hadn't think about it, but he said that motivated that Denver Broncos team. You guys remember that game? Wasn't it Jacksonville that they lost in the playoffs prior to those two Super Bowls? And they were heavily favored. I think they had the best record in the AFC. And they had it all lined up for them. And they got upset at home by the Jags. And he came out and he said, you know what that did to that team? For 2 straight years, we felt we let something slip away. And it motivated and drove them to winning Super Bowls in back-to-back seasons. That one game that they got beat by the Jags. It was a home game, had the best record in the AFC, and it drove them. Yep, Coughlin took them out. That's right. And it was at home in Denver. They never lose in Denver. They did. He said they went on to win 2 Super Bowls because of that game. I think there's always a signature game. And I'll give you one with the Cowboys when it came to you guys. Prior to the year they won the Super Bowl, there was a game against the Eagles that the Cowboys won. And Jimmy says that game against you, and there was another one against Washington, the year prior to them winning their first Super Bowl, that they believed and all of a sudden said, wow. Then they beat San Francisco. And when they beat San Francisco in the NFC title game, that's when they knew. I think the Super Bowl loss and last night's win could be the 2 most important games in Jalen Hurts' career. You didn't, and you did. 9 months apart. With a lesser team. In their home building, where he's never lost in November. That's a statement game. It's a statement game on what you guys did. Statement game. Look at this. Completely outplayed. Look at him on the first downs. 23-16. You sucked on third down. 3 of 11. They were 8 of 17. Over 50%. They had 20 more plays than you. You ran 54 plays. That's got to be your lowest play total of the year. You get this. Do you understand? Here, I want to put this in perspective to you on how you see this and how you understand this here. Okay? You ran 13 plays a quarter. 13. 13 plays a quarter. They ran 19. which in theory means they had about 2 more series than they had longer drives with more yards, and you had more 3 and outs. Professor goes, Sills, in less than 3 years coaching, Sirianni has beaten 24 of 31 other teams in the NFL. Hey, well, one of you guys, because I'm sure you have it. What's Nick Sirianni's overall? No, what's Nick Sirianni's overall record now? Gutsy. Chris? Gutsy. Yes. Gutsy, I completely agree. I concur. It was a fun game to watch. For me, it was. I know that the gamblers and the NFL doesn't like it. What's Nick Sirianni's overall record? What's his overall record as not counting the playoffs? Not counting the playoffs. Just his overall record. Okay? He's 33-12. Okay. How many games are left? 7? Okay. There's 7 games left. Hypothetically, let's just go. Okay. He's 33-12. 7 games left. Let's just say 5-2 for shits and giggles. Okay? Let's just say 5-2. He goes 5-2 the way out. That's 38-14. Just say he's 38-14 at the end of this year. You don't want a Super Bowl, you're overrated. It's sad. But that's sports. You can't be 38-14 and nothing to show for it. Except memories. There is so much pressure on the Eagles. See, last night for the Chiefs, they got 2 rings. Who's dropping a game like that to them? It's on the next week. That's their advantage that you don't have. You had to win that game. You had to win that game. They didn't. They've got their Super Bowl rings and MVPs and Pro Bowls and AFC Championship. They wanted that game. They didn't need that game. You needed that game. Home field, respectability, MVP, chasing Mahomes like every other 31 quarterbacks are. It's not a Jalen thing. It's a league. Everyone's chasing that guy. They want what he has. Wouldn't you? Again, that's the different thing in sports compared to politics. You can justify losing and justify pretty much anything in politics and why you spend so much money and why you do nothing for people and our military and the homeless. You do nothing for the homeless and the military in our country, and you're trying to have me give a shit about somebody else 17 million miles away. And I don't. I care about our homeless here in America and our veterans here in America first. Then we can go be good citizens. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Okay? Is Don Shula overrated? He's got 2 Super Bowls. Why would he be overrated? Don Shula's got 2 Super Bowl rings, multiple appearances, coaching some of the greatest games of all time, and has the greatest team in the history of the National Football League. Why would you say Don Shula's overrated? What part of Don Shula's resume makes him overrated when he has the greatest football team of all time, an undefeated team, and multiple Super Bowls and multiple Super Bowl appearances? What makes Don Shula? You're not comparing Nick Sirianni to Don Shula, are you? That might be a stretch, kid. The greatest football team of all time is the Miami Dolphins of Shula's era. Okay? 3 straight AFC titles, 2 Super Bowls. One of those teams was undefeated. Show me a better run. Let me guess. The Nick Sirianni team. You're not comparing that to Don Shula, are you? Oh, it's all good, Joseph. Okay. Marv Levy. Like I told you, 500 coaches get into the Hall of Fame. You don't have to have a Nick Sirianni record to get into the Hall of Fame. Oh, no, you can. Oh, no, you don't have to have that. You can have a 500 record and lose multiple times in Super Bowls. But Don Shula is not comparable because he's won Super Bowls. Marv Levy's nowhere in Don Shula's league. You don't think that. Somebody's comparing Marv Levy to Don Shula? All-time winningest coach regular season, undefeated Super Bowl team, 2 Super Bowl championships, multiple appearances in the Super Bowl, a cascade of Hall of Famers, and you're comparing Marv Levy to him. Might want that one back, kid. Did you think Desai early candidate to be a head coach next year or too early? I think too early, Professor. I think if he closes the deal, he'll be considered, not hired, and next year he'll get it. That's how I think it'll work. By the way, help me out on this. You're going to compare Nick Sirianni to Chuck Noll? A 4-time Super Bowl champion. The guy who picked 4 Hall of Famers in one draft. You're not comparing Nick Sirianni to Chuck Noll, are you? Chuck Noll's 4-0 in Super Bowls and beat a guy who won Super Bowls in Tom Landry. Marty Schottenheimer, over 200 wins, 4-14 in the postseason. That's a guy who was by far a better coach than Nick. I think in 27 years, he's never had a losing record. Maybe 1 year. He's 4th all-time or 6th all-time in wins at 206. Okay? Oh, no. Nathan, I'm not the one calling him the greatest coach in the NFC. Cool my Jets. I saw a guy in Green Bay that was 39-9 out of the gate. Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's a bum. He's 39. What's Matt LaFleur's record now? He's probably got I think he's still 680. He's got a 680 win percentage. Something like that. He's got it because those early years, he won 13 games 3 years in a row. You think he's a great coach? The quarterback makes those guys great. You don't have the quarterback. If Nick Sirianni doesn't have Jalen Hurts, shit, he couldn't do anything with him. He was 2-5 as a play caller. Let's get to the top 10 teams. Okay? Sills is right. Some people in South Philly are ready to put Sirianni in Lombardi and paternal territory. Not nearly anything near them. Okay? Not anything close to those guys. He's not in their room. You know why? Those guys won the most important games. Championships. Right? Richard goes, Nick would be dust without Hurts. Well, Belichick is not showing you. He's winning a ton of games without Brady. Can you imagine how that entire thing has changed the fortunes of both men? You draft a guy in the 6th round, the 199th pick. And now you're trying to shine up that 199th pick as much as you can because of all the bums that you drafted in that. I don't even know what year did Brady get drafted? Was it 2000? What year did he get drafted? 2000 or 2001? What year did he get drafted? I'd like to know. 2000? I'd like to know how many people off that draft of the Patriots went on to do shit from the 2000 draft. I don't know. I'm just talking off the top of my head here. How many guys that were drafted ahead of Brady in the Patriot draft, in 2000, on what they did with their careers in Philly or in New England? Because if he doesn't fall on Brady, Jesus, his entire legacy he won't have a legacy. I can't think of anybody that was off that 2000 draft that I went, wow, man, that guy really had a great career, right? 01-02 season, went to the Super Bowl, right? That was the 01. That's when Bledsoe got hurt. That was the beginning of a dynasty. The 199th pick was the beginning of a dynasty.